Did you hear what said?
Did you hear what said?
Did you hear what said?
Okay, and here we go. Big dog.
Hey, what's going on,
What's
big
going
dog?
on? Manny, aka Manny Fresh.
Oh yeah, we're having a good time, enjoying life right now, and we just got back from traveling. We went to Palm Springs
Yeah,
and spent some time on something you love to do very well, and it's
Yeah.
golfing.
absolutely,
We had
man.
a good time.
Yeah, before we get into it, I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking time out of your day
yeah.
to come do this with me.
Shoot anything for my boy. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate it, man, for sure. And it's football Sunday, so that means a lot.
Oh, but my team's not playing today, so it don't really matter.
I know.
They played Monday night.
We were just
Yeah.
talking about that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you mind picking up
problem.
on that, because so we were talking about how Tom Brady. So Manny's team is wherever Tom goes.
Yeah, that's it. If he's in back in New England next year, I'll be in New England.
New England, yeah. Gillette, yeah.
Yeah.
So
There's rumors that New England is another conversation piece. I truly believe San Francisco is his next venture to close out his career. He grew up in San Mateo, which is out in California, and his mom used to take him to the games to watch Joe Montana. So it makes sense. But to retire as a Patriot, I get that too. You know, after all the years bringing the rings to New England, it makes perfect sense.
makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if he would want to rekindle that relationship with Bill.
I don't know. I mean,
Belichick.
I think they both had the chemistry to make success, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was all Bill, and I don't think it was all Tom. I think it was a partnership. You know?
Understood. it.
Discipline
Yeah.
starts in success. A lot of discipline has to be there to be successful, and I think the coach brought a lot of that to the team.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you gotta give
but
Bill-
but no matter how good of a coach you are, or let's
Yeah.
just say a leader that you are, you have to have somebody who could be able to take in the information and then go perform it.
Yeah, execute.
And I think they realized that when they split up, that they really did need each other. Even this
Yeah.
year, I think even with Tom Brady, well, the reason why, because I think Tom Brady is having such a difficult time because he's going through a divorce.
Yeah.
And his stuff is not like ours. Right?
No.
Think about like what we go through when we have our little sabatos or our little problems at
yeah.
home. Like I'm currently going through mine where I'm like I did that actually with my first podcast.
Yeah.
So I was
Relationships.
telling Sil, yes, dude, you know me. So
relationships are always it's a battle. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, they're always challenging because you got to figure out, you got to make sure that it's perfect for both sides, because when you're in a relationship, you're trying to be happy and you're trying to make the other person, your partner, happy.
right.
So yeah, it's always a battle, but I think when two have common ground to work good together and help each other and be just be supportive to each other, it makes life a lot easier in the
does.
relationship.
Yeah, it does, especially those hard times that you
Especially
know that.
now.
Yeah, because that's why I was saying that Tom, he, if you look at his record
Yeah.
at the beginning of the year, it was good. Then you heard about a divorce.
Yeah.
And then it
Fell apart.
fell apart. They started
Yeah.
losing, like, I don't know how many games, 3 games, 4 games in a row.
yeah. He's they're
And then
5-6 right now, and they're below 500, which is it's unbelievable to hear Tom Brady
Below
500.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable.
And then he settles the divorce.
Yeah.
And it comes out that he settled the divorce and he won the week he settled the divorce.
Yeah.
And then he won the week after that. So, because his mind, I think, was clear. Like,
Yeah.
he was missing camp. He was doing all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Because I don't think, it takes a toll on you. Like, it's hard. It takes a lot because like his stuff is out there in front of everybody, and he has to go perform at the highest peak.
Right.
But that's no different than what we are. The only difference is that we aren't out. It's not out there to the media.
It's not magnified.
Yeah.
Like that is.
Ours is more us. But even then, if you look at it that spectrum, it's still so hard.
right, because we're on social media.
Yeah.
Where none of us in social media ever tell what's wrong in life. Well, there's people who will always put out what they're going through. And there's always people out there who will put out all the stuff that ain't going right.
Yes.
And then you got people who you look at it, you're like, man, that's too good of a life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they don't look real, but
Yeah.
but of course people always jack with me too. They're like, every time I see you, you're in another state, you're enjoying. Well, you know what? Hey, that's my hobby. I don't tinker with cars. I'm a car guy, but I don't have a bunch of sports cars and that's not my thing. I love sports cars, and I'm in the car business. But for me to have a golf club and a resort somewhere in the West Coast or in Florida, Miami, or wherever,
it does something for you.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. It brings a lot of energy.
I think if I asked you, do you vacate? Because you say people tell you that you vacation
Every
a
week,
lot.
yeah.
I think you'd say I don't vacation enough.
Probably. I
Shoot, bro, because I mean,
I have a great.
I like to work, you
Yeah.
know, but those California. So you put me on to all this vacation
Yeah.
stuff. A lot of people don't know that. So you want to give a little bit
Yeah.
of a backstory on you and I?
Yeah.
So how long have we known each other?
Probably 3 years now, 3+.
I think 3. Going on 4, maybe.
Yeah, going on 4.
4.
We met at a golf course.
We met at Wildcat Golf
Yeah,
Club.
yeah.
And so what happened was my boy Clayton, he invited me. He was like, "Hey, Seth, at the time, my fiance has this. Her boss is gonna go wants us to go play golf together. You know, he's gonna have his buddy." Which, you know, we'll get to him in a minute.
Yeah.
He's going to have his buddy with him, and, you know, they want to, would you want to come? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. I'll go. You know me, I'll go play with anybody. I don't care. And then when we showed up, it was like, you know, I got to meet you, and then I got to meet Bilo, Brent.
Yeah.
And so that's the day that I met both of you guys. And then since then, that day I remember, it's funny, you've never changed, bro. Because it's funny because you came, you asked, I met you.
Yeah.
And I think I remember walking away from you.
Yeah.
And then Clayton comes back and he's like, "Hey, Hannah's boss wants to play for like $10, $20 a hole or something like that. He wants to put skins on it or whatever." And I was just like, no, not that much. I was like, we could probably put like maybe $10 a piece, like me my 5, your 5, and his 5 against each other. And I think we ended up winning, but eventually through the time you've won that money back from me because you've been
have a lot of fun,
bro. You've been having my number lately when we go to the course for some reason.
We need to get back on it. We miss it.
We do.
Yeah,
we do.
miss it.
A lot of work, man. I've been working, trying to get all this together.
Yeah.
Because you know how it is, dude. It takes a lot of your focus. When you're focusing on one thing,
Right.
your attention's off on another.
That's
then,
absolutely true.
And I don't believe in I do believe in kind of multitasking, but to an extent.
Right.
Because then if you give your attention to 3 different things, then it's like Wi-Fi.
Right.
When you got one person on the room, the Wi-Fi is real strong on that phone. It's working smooth. But throw like 3, 4, 5 people in there, and it just
You break the bars down.
It breaks the bars down. So it's the same thing with my thought process.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm trying to learn how to do that, how to be able to give attention. But
Right.
I mean, it's a work in progress. But that's okay. So that's y'all just went to
Palm Springs.
Palm Springs.
Yeah.
How was that?
You know, California, I love everything about the state. I just don't like the politics. And I'm not trying to be, I don't want to get political, but
That's fine.
I like the scenery, the mountains, the temperature. It's all perfect for what I do. I play golf. So playing there that's my biggest hobby. So it has all the ingredients to play golf.
Yeah.
But I don't really get into I don't get into all the politics there because I don't agree on everything there. I mean, I think the state can be so much better. I mean, we were in Hollywood recently, and we're down the boulevard, and I told my fiance, I was like, God, I told Sylvia, I said, I was here many years, and I said, and then you see this place now, and it's like there's no regulation in anything, and it's so tore up, and I don't think I could. My kids are they're adults now, so I don't think I could bring little kids like when they were 5 and 6 to go venture off and go look at Hollywood Boulevard like I did many, many years ago.
Well, even your youngest.
Yeah.
You know, even for her to see.
Yeah, and I saw it and I was like, man, what heartbreaking. It's like this place is really, it's just.
It used to be so beautiful.
Yeah, it's homeless everywhere. People, there's no regulation of anything, and it's horrible. And that's unfortunate because it was a very, very nice spot to take people to sightsee and do things, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and I watched. I've been watching. Well, not so much, but a lot of people who said that they live in Hollywood, in LA, they were like, "Dude, it's changed."
Dramatically.
Even for them, they're saying it's changed. So I know that you visit, so you're
yeah.
not even there, but you know from where when you used to, because you
Work
used to
out
live
there
in,
a little bit. And,
used to live in California, right?
Different places out here near Hermosa Beach and, southwestern part of LA and working over there. And, you see things out there that 30 years ago, it's just not the same. And it's unfortunate because that place was always a beautiful place to see.
Yeah.
And people go out there. They want to see the Hollywood sign. They want to go see the stars.
That was actually really cool to
that
see,
was
dude.
cool. Yeah.
From Universal.
Yeah.
And you look over.
Yeah. Burbank's still a nice little spot.
Yeah.
And but we go. Our home now. Our second home is in San Diego. We love that place. We spend a lot of time there. My family lives out in Carlsbad, which is Oceanside area. So we go out there and spend a lot of time. And that's what really drives us. That's why we're always on that side of the country. But we found another niche. We've been traveling to Miami and to Tampa. We love Miami. We love Miami.
Hey, I bet Syl's probably like, man, please, Tom, stay in Miami, bro. She don't want to go.
That area.
She don't want to go back to where.
Oh no, New England.
Yeah,
I love Boston.
But,
I'm a huge Boston fan, and you've been there with me.
Boston, by the way, is historically. It's just something about. I've been thinking about it a lot lately. I've actually been considering just to go take a trip, just like, hey,
Boston's
for a weekend.
It's so phenomenal there.
But it was nice.
Yeah, you got the history. You can't. It's a lot of history there. Mm-hmm. Great food.
Yeah,
and I love seafood.
For you.
Yeah, I'm a big seafood guy.
I'm allergic to shellfish.
Yeah.
By the way, dude, that's so hilarious. The week before we went to Boston, I found out I was allergic to shellfish. And like a couple weeks prior to, you were like, bro, the clam chowder, you cannot, the best in America, the best. And then I was just like, oh, yeah, I can't wait. And then we went to Razoo's, and they had like a shrimp-based gumbo.
So, you went to Razoo's here in Houston?
Yes.
So you were trying to compare to...
Well, because I was like...
you were tuning up.
So, yeah.
You were tuning up because you were not going to compare Razoo's to...
No. So what I was trying to do is I was trying to see like how serious is this allergy? Yeah. Because I where's the place called Craving Cajun, right? Or Cajun Craving.
Great place over there in
Scarsdale.
Yeah.
So you introduced me to that place. So we go eat there, and I was good then. I think it just built up for some reason because I went back one time and I got their gumbo, which has crawfish and it has shrimp in it.
Yeah.
And I love their gumbo, but it's so good. By the way, if you don't have an allergen, go eat Cajun Craving off of Scarsdale, dude.
They're the best.
It is the best. And so I got some to go. I went home and I had like a little bit of a whatever.
Yeah.
And then I was like, that's funny. I'm itching. My face itching. I was like, dried eyes. Okay. Nothing much, right? Kind of went away.
Right.
And then I went to Outback, and I got I was trying to eat healthy. That's what I get for trying to eat healthy.
Yeah.
I got some chicken, shrimp, and rice.
Right.
And I don't know if it was in the seasoning or if it was a shrimp, but it made my lips blow up.
Oh, yeah, you're allergic.
They blew up over to where it wrapped around my teeth. And then I was itching, bro, red. I was patched. I took 3 Benadryls. I was scared. I was like, go get this EpiPen. I swear to God.
You were done.
I was done. So then I was like, okay, so that was consuming the full seafood. So let me try to do something that's shrimp based. Let's see how serious it is. So the liquid in the gumbo, it was just sausage and chicken and rice, and it wasn't nothing like no seafood was in it, but it was shrimp based. That as soon as I ate it and it went in, like I took a spoonful, I just felt my whole body ice out.
Oh,
and I was like, yep, nope, can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, so that sucked right before Boston. And then we go over there. So beautiful, by the way. We drove all the way down to Rhode Island, right? To Providence. Right?
Yeah,
oh,
Rhode Island.
Was that
Rhode Island?
Providence.
Providence. All those areas out there. Beautiful.
The boats.
Water.
The lifestyle, though, is totally different. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very nice.
It was. Nice. That's one thing I love about California is that when you drive along the coast, not even along the coast, everybody's outside.
Nobody's inside, and that's the thing about Houston. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to get better at that. You can see it, and I got to get better at it too, working out. But I ain't working out, but I need to work out. But
you're lucky you're handsome.
Thank God for some kind of feature. But I
got a good personality.
I look at people in downtown. Now that's up and coming. How they're building up, and it's nothing like when I was growing up in Houston.
Yeah.
As a little kid in the 70s, you go downtown, you didn't know if you were going to get shot or.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah.
And it was in rough deals. But now you look at it, it's really up and coming, real nice condos, and people are working out. and you see everybody's working out. They're running, they're biking, and that's one thing about California. They have the perfect weather all year round, so you can do that. Here, nobody's inside. Nobody's ever inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I miss. I like that.
Yeah, it is beautiful. If you've never taken a trip to anywhere, I recommend you go take trips. It wasn't until I met Manny that I actually started, like, I would say, living life and actually going and enjoying taking trips. So Manny taught me how to live that enjoy yourself and don't work hard. Work hard, but work hard so that you can go enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Always put into work. Mm-hmm. Put into work. I tell that to everybody, people that work for me and people I've met over the years, put into work and go get what's yours.
Yeah.
And if you do that, you can enjoy the fruits of this life that God has already given it to you. It's just, we just don't know how to go get it. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? And I think a lot of people,
for someone who doesn't understand that, explain that.
Well, I think what happens is I think we get complacent in life and idle. And I always pray to God about that. I always tell God, hey, don't let me become idle. Don't let me ever become complacent. That means to a point where you just accept the old term, it is what it is. Don't ever accept that term to be in your life, because I believe truly God has so much great for all of us. And he always had plans for us. Sometimes we don't see them because we're always trying to make our own decisions and choices and whatever it is. And that's why he gave us free will. But we also, I think I lean on him to get me through that, and to lean on him for his understanding, because as people, we all you got to do is look on the news. We know how to screw it up real quick. Mm-hmm. But I think with the Lord, if you just be patient, you can really go out and be the best that you can. Be accountable. Have discipline in your life, and be accountable for your own actions. And don't blame anybody. And work hard and put in the effort. Nobody owes you anything. I tell people that all day long. Nobody, your companies, whatever job you have, whatever you do, nobody owes you anything. I tell people, when we had a meeting the other day, and I tell them, hey, nobody owes you anything. You owe it to who? Yourself. You owe it to you. 100%. Mm-hmm. And that's the way I live life. Yeah. I live that way. I've always lived that way. And people always like, man, I remember years ago we did some video work with a salesman that is working in Florida. And he says, Manny, a lot of people always say that you're just too happy and you're too excited and too much energy, and it just doesn't look real. I said, well, that's who I am. You can't change that. But I made a decision many years ago. I wasn't going to live like the other way. I wasn't going to live like, blaming people for my success. I wasn't going to live to, how come this person has this and how come I don't have that? Or how come this person gets that and how come I don't have, how come I don't get the shot? Whatever it is in life. And I learned at a young age, I didn't do that. I stopped. I did as a young kid. Then I decided as I got older, hey, no, I got responsibilities. I'm going to be the best I can be, and I'm going to enjoy this life every day. And now I wake up, and I've been doing this for years. Mm-hmm. I wake up, and first one I thank is God for everything he's given me. And that's just my belief. I don't expect everybody to have that same, I don't push it on everybody, but I can tell you it's been key ingredient to my life, whether it's success, whether it's just happiness. Happiness is success. It is not monetary. I don't try to tell people it's all about monetary. Now, it's good to have, don't get me wrong.
Well, you need money. That's what I try to tell people. You need money in order to, if you're going to go help out people, you need money. Yeah. If you're going to go do certain things, you need money. So the whole thing is not to make it to fall into the flesh of it, to like make it your whole life. Right. But you need it to feed your family, you need it to provide, you need it to eat, you need all this stuff. So go ahead.
And it's nice to help people in so many different ways, but it's nice. And encouragement. I think if you encourage people every day, and it's nice to hear people, sometimes they'll tell me, they're like, man, I needed to hear that this morning, positive energy. We're all going to go through trials. I used to tell people many years ago, I was with a big corporation, and I used to tell all the managers and the salespeople that worked for me, and many years ago in my service team, I used to always tell them, I said, well, get ready. When you wake up tomorrow, you're going to hit a brick wall. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, That's just the way life is.
Yeah.
We get these curveballs thrown at us and things happen. I lost my parents at a young age. I say a young age, but I lost my parents in my early 30s, both of them back to back. And that was a time in my life I was like, wow, how do you get through this? But I already knew. I think with God and him being there for me and me depending on him for his comfort and peace, I can't change what happened. The only thing I could change is do the things that I knew that was right, that they taught me. So what I did, my parents lived through me every day after that. So my mom and dad had two different characteristics, which all relationships do, right?
Yeah.
The wife may be the one that
because I'm very outgoing.
Yeah.
I'm very like whatever,
Right.
but I seem to always find someone who's very reserved and very
there you
like
go.
to themselves.
Right.
But it's great because if you look into that, it's like maybe I need to be more reserved and
Yeah.
not so on the go and a little bit more patient and enjoy life.
Yeah.
But then maybe they also need to be a little bit more communicative, whatever, or more outgoing or whatever it is. But it's a beautiful balance between the two. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
That's how your parents were. They were
my mom and dad were two different people.
Yeah.
My dad was loving, not a care in the world. Very, what do you call it? When you kind of let things slide under the table, like, hey, don't worry about that. It's okay. Yeah. My mom was stern. She was stern, and she'd tell you straight up who you no. My mom used to always tell me, show me your friends. I'm going to show you who you are. And like, man, what is she talking about? I'm 14 years old. Why is she beating me down? But she was a Christian, and she taught me the word, and it balanced my life. I'm not saying, for me, it balanced my life to try to be the best I can be. And my dad
are saying that.
Yeah.
You
so I took those characters.
Yeah, you are saying that because of your mom being the way that she was, because a lot of kids, so I have some of my, just for if anyone younger is going to be listening, if your parents are hard on you, you might want to take a step back and understand that at least they're hard on you and they're there.
Yeah.
At least they care. Because if they don't, they care. That's all it is. They're just wanting you to live right. They've lived through it, whether you think it or not, because young kids think parents don't know anything.
Right. They're the smartest people when we get older.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like
our parents mom and dad was smart.
But for some people, it's almost too late.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because your decisions.
It's too late for the decisions. It's too late because they may not be here anymore. Right. It's too late because they may be, it's just, so take it, don't be so quick, I guess, to rush.
Right. Or to judge and say, but speaking of discipline and all that, in today's world, there's a lot of challenges right now that we're going through. I mean, there's a lot of people I don't know if it's belief in anything or just do what you want to do, whatever makes you feel good. I always tell my children, just because it makes you feel good doesn't mean it's always right. Mm-hmm. So there's consequences to everything we do, and we have to learn to love one another and be good to each other, but also have a path that you're on. I'd rather have a narrow path that could be tough than have this path that I'm all over the place, and tomorrow I don't have, there's not no structure, or you don't know where you're at, where you're going. You don't have a roadmap.
Yeah.
Everything has to have a roadmap. We all have to have a roadmap.
Yes.
To get to where we want to go, whether it's your goals, whether it's your relationships. Everybody has to have a roadmap. And it's tough right now to watch what's happening with our youth. Mm-hmm. And people can say all day long, well, everybody's picking on the youth today because it's a tough generation.
You're supposed to. I think we're supposed to go and help them. You want to know the future.
There's too many parents today, and I've seen this, where they want to be their best friend instead of their parent.
Yes.
Be their mother or their father, whoever you are, and discipline them the way you're supposed to discipline them and hold them accountable. And you know what? Down the road, they're going to take that. They'll learn from it. But if you want to be their best friend, you don't want them to be mad at you. Oh, I don't want them to be upset. And, you're seeing stories today where they're upset at each other and they tick off. And then maybe a child dies in a car wreck and they didn't really have that. They didn't get to make amends to whatever they were going through. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's not, you got to be able to have conversation, to be able to have communication to make sense.
Yeah, I just actually, I've actually just re-sparked my relationship with my dad recently. But like truly, like I did it, I tried to, but I actually truly sat down and was like, hey man, this is what's going on, and I know you feel your way, I feel my way. We have everything to argue about in the past.
Right.
But one thing that is for certain is that time's running out between us two. And that we could sit here and chit-chatter all day about the past, but let's I love you. You love me. I don't want to live life without you, and you don't want to live life without me. Let's continue to move forward, but let's hold each other accountable and build up each other and support each other.
Right.
And I think a lot of families nowadays, we fall out. I think with the youth today is that they fall out way too quick.
Yeah.
They're quick to get upset about something and then just be like, all right, I'm done. I don't want to do it no more. And it's like, because it's that instant gratification stuff that's going on with social media. They do something like video game type deal. Like they want it quick. They want it now. And if you hire somebody at the dealership, right? And they're a salesman and they sell 2 cars, they're ready to become GM. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, no, seriously, like they're not willing to. I mean, even with selling them, it's just like, dude, you got to understand that you got to take time. You're there for you don't even show up on time. Right. You're not even staying late. You're not putting in the effort for them to even want to give you a raise. Right. So what makes you think I want to give it to you? You don't. That's the thing. A lot about parents. Because I don't know too many parents. But if you want, because that's the hard thing, man, is that y'all come from an era, my dad too, y'all come from an era where it was tough and y'all didn't have very much. Y'all are like that generational, that piece in the family that turned the family around.
Right.
And brought some type of, brought you out of poverty in a certain way.
Right.
And
I feel bad for the youth because I don't want to blame them for what they're going through, what this generation's going through. I think it's what happened in the turn of the technology world that came, like in my time, we had family dinners where the mom and dad and the brothers and sisters were all at the table.
Right.
And we talked about what's happening.
Yeah.
And that was just because we didn't have phones. We didn't have computers. We didn't have Instagram or Facebook or today TikTok, right? We didn't have that. But I see all these changes in technology, and it kind of drew everybody away with the communication. But it's really not their fault. It's just they were handed that deal.
Yeah, it's when you enable, like, so I was trying to get to is that your parents, y'all knew what it was like to not have. You looked around because, like you said, when you were younger, you were always like, you were not always, but you were kind of like, man, why do they have this? Why do they have that? Why am I this? Why am I that? So when you there was a point in time, I'm assuming that you were like, when I'm a father, I'm going to do X things these certain things that my parents didn't do for me. I'm going to give that to my kids. I'm going to be there for them. I'm going to love them. I'm going to give them their clothes that they want. I'm going to try to put them in the college that they want to go to, right? Sometimes it does work that way, but sometimes people, if they, like, you do it in the right way to where you, like, not your youngest, but the second youngest, she knows, like, her credit. She's really strict on herself and stuff like that. Yeah. But you did it in a certain way that creates discipline and responsibility. If you're not careful enough and you're trying to do that for your kids, you enable them and you make them not able to work for themselves, and they don't take responsibility. And if you're always there to save them and not let them fall on their face when they get
tough in the real world.
When they get into the real world, it happened to me.
Yeah.
When you get to the real world, it's like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, you're 18. You need to get it together. You need to go get a job. But I didn't get taught any of this. Yeah. Well, I do it. But what happened was that they didn't have it either.
Right.
So it takes someone to be like, you know what? Like you said, just take responsibility. We can sit here and point the finger at anybody all day.
That's right.
But it's like none of it's going to matter. You can make an excuse. You may be right. You may be wrong. Pity party. Poopy pants about it.
Right.
But what you need to do is look internally and say, what do I need to do now for myself? And then you can help out your family. But what do I need to do now to move that needle forward?
Right.
To change things. And if you're sitting there stuck in your head, you'll never get. If you don't try to if you sit there and you're trying to like be all pitiful about yourself, it won't ever happen. If you're trying to be like, if you want to get promoted, then go get promoted.
Go work.
Show up on time. Get a clean cut. Be punctual. Be a hard worker.
Look the part.
Don't be one of those that says, hey, so and so, can you go help out over there? Oh no, man, that's not my job. I'm a forklifter.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not my job. I'm a receptionist. I don't go do that.
Yeah.
Like, no, you do need help. Wear multiple hats, because guess what? Managers wear multiple hats all the time. I used to tell you were like, hey, said, how's your day? Oh, just another day of being a psychologist, therapist, a friend, teacher, mentor, coach, all these things, all in one, because that's what you do when you get to that level. You're all these things. You're not just a worker. So, and you need to walk before you or crawl before you walk. Right. Yeah.
The biggest thing is, there's a number of things happening, not only just in life, but the workforce. I always tell people, do more than your role.
Yeah. So, what do you mean by that?
So when say you're a salesman, or say you're a stocker in inventory, you do parts inventory, or say you're a receptionist, no more than your role. Learn other job pieces of the job so it can help you become in demand. Where down the road people say, hey, this person's always willing to volunteer, willing to try to do everything else.
Right.
I see today is that's a challenge right now. And I'm not the only one to say that. I think a lot of people in business today, they'll tell you, and I talk to people from all parts of the United States, and they'll tell me, are you having this problem? Are you having that problem? Are you trying to find good people? Can you find good workers? And if you do, how long did they last? And it's just the problem.
Welcome to my world. The old world that I can't, dude.
It's tough.
That's why it was stressing me out.
It's tough.
Because of that very reason. No one wants to work, and this whole pandemic thing didn't help out anyways. Right. It just made it a hell of a lot easier for people who had that mentality of like, screw it. I'm just going to go home and My brother was making more money than I was.
Yeah.
On unemployment, and I was just like, man,
got to get him to work.
Well, he did, and he's doing good, but it's just crazy. So you you gotta.
I think the biggest thing too is communication and job expectation, because I think some people just think, well, he don't want to do it. Well, let's just blow him out. Let's fire him. No. We need to work him. Make sure they understand. I like what my boss always tells me. He's like, you have to, if you don't know it or you don't know how to do something, how can you expect him to do it? And he's right.
Dude.
He's right.
So that's why I did my mom, to bring back a conversation from way earlier. She had came over. She was talking to me. We're supposed to do the podcast. We had just had Bible study over at my grandma's, and we're sitting out there for an hour talking, bro. And I'm just like going off on like a tangent about like a pity party, basically about like my recent relationship. And then she's like an hour into it, I hand her a card because I watched this movie, and it's a therapy movie. It's with Jonah Hill. It's really good, and it actually really helped me. It's the kicker that made me want to go talk to my dad and rekindle that relationship.
Nice.
And it really helped. And I've seen him quite a few times since then, and it feels good. It's still a little void, but it's like, hey, we know we're trying to work on it, right? New relationship. But anyway, so she was like, dude, I'm like in tears. I'm like puffy faced. I'm all stressed. I'm like, just a lot going on. It's just one of my moments, bro. Probably one of my most vulnerable, hurtful moments of my entire life. Like, in all honesty. So she's like, all right. She looks at the card. She's like, let's go in the room. We're going to do the podcast. And I'm like, I'm not ready. What, bro? You're gonna have me look at? She was like, no, said. She was like, if you expect, and she says this on the first show, which it's about to be up right now. It's actually uploading right now as we speak. She says, it said, if you expect somebody to come in here and talk about their current life, their past life, or whatever they're going through or working through, or whatever got them to where they're at, you need to do it too. You need to be able to say it too. And that's one thing about me is that I do say is that I won't tell somebody to do something that I wouldn't do.
Right.
You don't do that. You lead by example. And I think that's one thing that you do. You don't go around Bible thumping people, but you live. If someone asks like, why are you so happy? And then the way you portray it, it's like, why are you this? Why are you that? Well, it's like, well, if you're asking, I follow God every day. I wake up. This is what I do. And I'm not trying to put God into your life, but I'm just saying you're asking me, and you think that what I'm doing is you're a light to people who are in the dark. And there is a lot of people that are into darkness. And that's the whole purpose of this podcast, that I wanted to bring you on because, one, you're like a big brother to me, and thank you. And you've taught me so much in these past, I've learned so much in these past 3 years just about just effort and work ethic and trying and being loving and understanding and all these things. And you've helped me through a lot. And it's just you've gone through your battles. But then you wake up the next day and you get
Swing.
after it.
Swing.
Yeah,
Gotta
because
get
it ain't
up.
gonna stop you.
No. I lost my brother to a horrible, horrible murder. It's going on 2 years in April.
Yeah.
And that caught me off guard, because I lost my parents at a young age. And then when I lost my brother, I thought losing your parents, I thought there's nothing worse than that. Of course, losing a child would even be worse, and I don't even want to imagine that. But lost my brother. He was my older brother, and we were, man, like best friends. I mean, we did everything together. I loved him to. I mean, he had this high energy, and he had so much to offer me in life. And then I lost him to a senseless murder, where he got into a fight, and unbelievable what happened. But it took me to a place that, man, I was like in shock. It took me days to understand. I couldn't believe my brother was gone. But then I had to tell God, Lord, now I got to figure this out and pick myself up. I got to continue to live every day and be positive. And think about all the things my brother did to encourage me, and utilize that and share that with everybody else. And I mean, and in his funeral eulogy, I told everybody at the funeral, when I spoke at it, I said, you would have thought my brother had everything going for him. He thought he was a millionaire. You thought he had everything, but he wasn't. He was a broken man. He was a broken man, but he still had that positive energy around people. And that was the way. You couldn't change him. That's who he was. And it gave me a lot. And when he left, that hurt. But again, we're going to lose, and life is going to happen. And this is the way life is, the circle of life. And we're going to move forward, and we're going to keep going. And you still got to remain optimistic. God still provides a lot of good things in my life, and I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep marching, and I'm going to keep swinging for the fences to be the best I can. I can't let anything get in my way, and I'm not going to let anything determine where I want to be at. I have to do that. I owe it to me, and I'm going to continue. No matter what trials you go through, you got to continue grinding.
Yeah, that's one thing I like about you, Manny. I love about you, actually. I don't like it, Manny. I love it. One thing I love about you is that since the day I met you, you were always you knew who you were. You know who you are. You're not afraid to hide from that or run from it. You bring it as a part of you. And that was one thing that I was struggling with. And like I said, not to mention it again, but I talked about it on my first show, was that there was a part of me that when I watched this movie that I realized I was hiding from. And I stuffed him away, and I was trying to portray this like image to people that I'm not, and it's like I was hiding this past, and I needed to bring it with me. And and it's not easy still. So I ask you, like, even though so it was tough on you, if you don't mind me going into it, was tough on you with I wanted to talk about the church when you went to go, if you don't mind.
No,
because that was just such a beautiful thing. And actually, I've been thinking like about taking a trip before it gets any worse over there in New York. But if you don't mind, shining some light on that.
Well, after my brother passed he passed in April of that year. In that October, we took a vacation. Sylvia and the kids and we went to New York City, and she kept fighting me. You need to go to New York. I said, why do I want to go to New York? Yeah. I watch so many movies and TV. I see New York. I don't want to be around the subway rats and stuff. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to go see the big buildings. But I really wanted to go for two reasons. I really wanted to go to the 9/11 memorial. That touched me. That was a part in my life in 2001. Man, that really got to me, to see somebody come over here and do whatever. There's so many theories on that, but that was heartbreaking to see other people lose their lives in that building.
That's a fact. Yeah. We all know. You can talk about whatever you want about what you think happened, but people
died.
2,000 people died.
Yeah, they died. I went to the memorial.
That's so sad.
And I got a chance to go to the memorial. It was very nice. And then Sylvia kept begging me. She goes, "You need to go to this church." And I said, "Which one is it?" It's St. John's Divine, and I think it's out in Queens, right? I think it's out in Queens. So, okay, I've been on subways all week, and I'm like, let's go, get on another one. And I was like surprised, like, wow, these subways are pretty clean. Probably people from New York are probably like, man, I don't know where this guy's subway's been, but I live here. And I'm like, no, but I was a guest, so I'm enjoying it. So we're in we're staying in Manhattan, and we
Don't
go.
lie, you took the valet subway, didn't you?
Oh,
No,
yeah. I was like, I want to be like that movie.
you
Archer.
rented
Where's
out.
the-
You rented out a train, didn't you? I know. I know your style,
I
Manny.
said, get the train ready. Let's clean that sucker, disinfect it. No, I didn't.
Amigo.
So we got on the subway. We went up to that morning I've been all over New York, and I was like, God, I'm so tired. I want to sleep in. I want to relax. And she goes, no, come on, get up. She kept pressing me.
Yeah.
You got to go. You got to go. And I fought her. And there's a moral to that story, that piece that I'm telling you right now.
All right, yeah, I can see it.
She kept fighting. I kept fighting her. And then finally I said, okay, I'll get up and go. And we get going, and we're going to this deal. And I'm looking at this church from the outside, and kind of threw me off a little bit because it looked a little dark. And I'm about a ball of energy of seeing good stuff. And so let's go in here. And we went in there, and I was in awe. I've been to churches, here in Houston, big churches and stuff. But I've never seen a church of that size, of the magnitude. And I was in awe. I was like, wow, how far? It felt like you could put like 10 football fields in it. And I kept telling Sylvia, I said, man, if this guy's preaching, the priest, if he's preaching in here, can anybody hear him from where we're back at, But we started doing a tour, and we started walking around. And I'm just a lover of Christ. I mean, I have a passion for Jesus Christ. That's just me. I have a passion. I have the love for Christ that every time I think of him or I have a conversation, I get emotional. Like today in church, I got a little emotional because he's everything to me. So
Amen.
I told her, I said, there's a bench in the church, and there's Christ on the cross. And I said, I'm just going to sit here. I need to pray. I said, I'm still reeling with my brother's death. And I need to ask God. I need to talk to him. So they went to go do that. They left me alone. I just bowed my head and started praying to God about, I'm just so upset about what happened to my brother, that I know these things happen, but I know you got him because he was a believer, and he asked for forgiveness many times. And I know that God had mercy on him. And I know he's there in the kingdom. So I'm praying, and it felt like a couple of minutes. I mean, forever, but it was just for a couple of minutes. And I closed my eyes, and I'm bowing, I'm praying and telling God to, I don't know why this terrible incident happened to my brother, and I'm forgiving the person who did it to him, because we gotta forgive if we want forgiveness, right? That's just the principle that God taught me. And within seconds, I think I'm dreaming, but I'm looking at this, and it looked like I was watching an old 8mm film. And for all you young people, 8mm film and flip, whatever we used to use in the 80s, it was just, the film wasn't clear. It was brutal. And it looked like that, but then it cleared and made it. And then it was this beautiful background of a waterfall. And it was one of the biggest waterfalls I've ever seen. And these two deer were grazing in the front, closer to me. And I'm watching them eat from the field, but then they turn and look at me. And I'm like, oh my God. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I looked at this place, and then it faded. It started fading away. So when something fades, the picture doesn't become clear anymore, and it starts like turning like it's gone. And I was like, oh, no, don't go. I was at that point like, oh, don't go. Because I was in a place, I was overwhelmed. And then I was done, and I got up, and of course, thanking God for that. But I was still in shock. What do you call it? I don't know where I was. I was just in a different place. I got up. I saw my daughter, and I saw Krista, which is my older one, and my other one, Marley. I said, hey, where's Sylvia? Because you would have thought I saw a ghost. I mean, I was like in awe. And I said, where's Sylvia? They said, she's right over there. And I told her, please come outside. And I got outside, and you can ask her and the kids. I couldn't stop crying. They're like, what's wrong? I said, I gotta tell you what I saw. And I got all. I couldn't speak. I mean, I spoke, but I was like, I just couldn't get my bearings together. It took me probably 45 minutes because we left the church and we got to where our hotel was. And still, I couldn't get myself around. I couldn't wrap my head around it. I couldn't get the emotion. I was still literally.
Yeah.
I believe the Holy Spirit moved in me and gave me the vision to see that. Mm-hmm. And to me, it was a message from God. And the message I took that day was, hey, I have your brother, and this is where he's at.
You said that there was a waterfall, right? Mm-hmm. I think I remembered when you first told me this story, it made me emotional too. And
the waterfall was massive.
I think the waterfall, in my opinion, when you told me this story, and I could be wrong because everybody takes in their own. I think that was your brother, and it was flowing, and he's like going into paradise, and the two deer that were feeding beside and looked at you. I believe that those were your parents.
You know, it's a shock you say that.
That's what it feels like.
I told Sylvia that message.
It's what it feels like.
That's what it felt like.
And then that's why you got that I think it's one thing I don't mind. Like, the one thing about it is that when you have something on your heart and on your mind that's telling you something, dude, listen to that. Right. If you know it's coming from a place of good. Now, if it's coming from a place of bad, but when you feel it in your heart and it overtakes your whole body, and you only know through experience to feel it, and you feel the warmth, listen to that signal, because that may very well be truly exactly what happened, and it's God communicating to you. It's the Holy Spirit communicating to you. It's all of it talking to you. And I think that's they were given because they knew that you were in distress.
They knew I was hurt.
And I think it's funny to mention. I want to mention because Syl is telling you this whole trip, like, let's do this, let's go here, and from the get you were battling it. But it's so funny because it may have not been like she was like your lighthouse, your safe haven, because what was happening is that there was something that didn't want you to go experience that. Right. They wanted you to live in that torment of that mental, spiritual loss of like anguish and hurt and not understanding, and God knows what that could have maybe led to. Yeah. And then so you're battling it with Syl, and then she's being real persistent about taking you, and then she takes you and you go and you're just in awe, and then you have that moment, and it's exactly, you were in God's hands. Yeah. It's so funny. You were in God's hands, and he took care of you, and he gave you that vision, relief that you needed.
Amen. I mean, I got to, once that was done, my brother and my sister and all them, and for weeks, for months after that, they would go out and put text messages like, I miss my brother. I'm so heartbroken. I can't believe he's gone. And I was the one telling them, don't worry about your brother. I know where he's at. He's in a great place. You must have the faith also to know that he's in a good place, because you know who he was, and you know what he did, and you know what he stood for. And I was always the tougher one to say, hey, don't pick your head up. Don't get down. Don't get discouraged. Pick your head up. And I still do that. And I didn't want them thinking I wasn't hurting, but I was more, the message was sent loud and clear through the Holy Spirit. I
think it was sent to you for a reason, so that you could go help them.
Yeah.
Because he knew he gave it to you.
Yeah.
And so that you could
now
extend that.
I think about my brother all the time. I think about all the good times, and I know where he's at. So it's a blessing.
Yeah. And one thing that you told me too, and I don't want to suck the light out of it, because I want you to talk about it. Can you run me back on the conversation your dad had with you? Remember when you were younger, your dad sat all y'all down and was talking to you guys?
Yeah.
Because that has a correlation.
It does. It really truly does.
It sparked up that memory, that thought when your brother passed.
We would sit on the table and imagine a bunch of boys, and we're all rowdy when we're in, this is the late 70s, early 80s. And we'd get there, tell jokes. I mean.
Was that BC?
We are old. We are. I'm the youngest too. I mean, but so you can imagine what there are. But so we're sitting there and we're having dinner and we're laughing, and my dad is reading the paper. You don't want to interrupt him. You know, this is okay for all you young people. We didn't have phones. We didn't have technology. We didn't have Facebook, TikTok. We didn't have none of that. So we got to read the paper and the funnies. That was what you did. And you had conversation.
Funnies?
Yeah, the funnies were
like memes? No.
I know.
I know what you're talking about.
I loved them. They were fun. But I can't. But Or we watch TV with the whole family in the living room, and you watch one TV and you only had 4 or 5 channels. Can you imagine trying to do that today? Kids will go crazy, but that's what it was. So we're on the table and we're laughing, joking, and then we start fighting with each other. The boys, all of us, my older brother and my other 2 other brothers, and we're battling. And my dad hit that table. He had his reading glasses on. I remember he put them down and hit that table. And he said, "Hey, y'all don't need to be fighting." And he goes, "Let me tell you something." He said, "I lost my brother. He was 24 years old to a car wreck in Galveston." And he goes, until this day, I'm still hurting. I still miss him. And he goes, "We were so close. We were only like 3 years or 4 years apart." And my dad was the younger of the 2. And he said, "You guys don't understand. You don't know what it's like to lose a brother. That's why y'all need to take care of each other and behave and love each other." Mm-hmm. And he told me that. Of course, at that time, I was like, okay. I'll wait for him to get done so I get back to doing what I'm doing, right? And then when I lost my brother, my dad came back to me. Mm-hmm. He came back into conversation. I remember what my dad said. I said, "Man, now I know what Dad was feeling. That must have been heartbreaking. That was I got brothers. He only had 1. Mm. And so that must have been unreal." And I said, "Man, now I know." Yeah. So I guess advice I can give everybody: love your brothers and sisters. You ain't going to agree on everything they do. You're not going to you're going to battle. But make sure you love your family. You don't go to bed mad. I have a rule in my family. We don't go to bed with being mad. We just don't do it. I'm still working. I still got a lot of work in process. Not on me, but there's people in my family. I'm working on them to not go to bed mad, even though I'm still working and hope somebody gets this message today.
You're so bad. You're so bad.
Work on that, because let me tell you.
One thing that Manny is excellent at doing besides everything y'all hear is staying in that doghouse, bro. By the way, Manny is the only guy I know that has
still working on it.
He has a vacation doghouse that he likes to take with him. Ain't that right? All the time.
Yes.
So
I do it all the time, and I'll do it, and no matter where I'm at.
Doesn't stop.
I don't stop getting in the doghouse.
Don't.
But I'm the big dog, right? But if I could give this message to everybody and anybody out there listening, learn to forgive. Always learn to love, and be patient and be slow to anger. Mm-hmm. I never knew anything that you would win by being angry at somebody. I never saw anything good come out of that. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
But I have people that tell me, "Oh, my mom is calling me, telling me, come over. I got my land I got to take care of. I got my children. And she wants to talk." I'm like, you need to take care of your family. You need to go see your mom.
Yeah.
If you got a father, go see your father.
Yeah.
Go take him to dinner. Maybe take him a cup of coffee and just sit there with him.
Yeah.
I don't have that chance anymore. I'm up there now. It's been 20 years since I lost my parents. For you out there, now you're doing the math. Now you really know how old I am. But
make it look good, bro. Don't worry.
I don't get it. Because when they're gone, I can't pick up the phone. I can't call my mom. I heard a song the other day from Mike Manuel. I never knew this guy. And he's a country singer, and he sung a song. It's a song called "Phone in Heaven." And he told God, and it's funny. He said, "God, I'm calling you not to ask for forgiveness, but if my mom's up there, can you give her pass the phone to her?"
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? And if I could tell every person that I know, if you have parents, love them. Love them, love them. Be slow to anger. Always seek forgiveness and always forgive. And man, let me tell you, life is, we shouldn't make it that hard.
No.
We're creatures of bad habit, and we just make life harder than it needs to be. So take that advice. I hope you run with it, because you know what? Life is too short. Our days, you don't know when our day is going to be called. And I sure don't want to be that person. Like my brother, I know what I did for him. I know I was there for him. I know I was. And I know when he called, I was there. If he said, hey, man, I want to get to Houston, he lived in Arkansas for a while, I'll put him on a flight. I don't care.
And you didn't agree with you didn't agree with his lifestyle either.
No,
not to the extent where you were like, it didn't make you not want to be around him, or like, oh, he's being like that, or he does this in his life.
Right.
I don't want to talk to him.
Yeah, I mean, I think a drug and alcohol addiction, I've seen too many families get tore apart and watched him tear his life up, but he had a vice. They're vices, I call them.
Yes.
And I think God can help you and heal you, get you through that vice. And I think that's what happened, that he just could not leave that lifestyle. But it didn't make him a bad person. He loved everybody. He never hurt anybody. He cared about people. He always preached to them, and didn't care if he was on a bus or talking to the homeless. I mean, it's easy for us. We can go to a church and meet people at the church and talk about God, right? That's the easy part.
Yeah, but you and I we could do that, but you and I also do it when we're just like out and about.
We need to be doing it where we meet people in the street.
Exactly.
I don't care what walk of life. I don't care if you're a millionaire or if you're the poorest person in the world. We just need to be doing that.
Just talk about it.
Yeah, share that.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Not just with your parents, also with your parents, but everybody in your family. Start spreading love. The thing about negativity is that it's more contagious than it is than positivity is.
It's like the news.
Yes, you always see negative stuff.
Cling on to the news when something big happens, right?
There's something always so good going on in the world, and they hound it. And then not only that, but social media is so negative. Everybody has their own opinion, which most of their opinions ain't worth a lick of salt. And no, seriously. And then there's always these things that says, I was just talking about it. It says that they did me wrong. Well, I'm not going to talk to them. I'm going to be proudful. I'm going to go my own way and be strong, and I'm going to show them. I'm not going to talk to them ever again. And it's just like, no, dude, that is going to hurt you way more than addressing the problem, acknowledging it, letting it out, and then deciding from there what you're going to do with that relationship, whether it's continue to move forward together or it's just separate. But you stop having all that hate and animosity built in you. You owe it to yourself to be loving all the time, no matter what, but that's what your morals teach you. Right. And that's what the thing with kids these days is that they don't have a moral basis to rely on. Like for you and I, it's kind of like, go love your neighbor as much as you love yourself.
That's right.
So love yourself so that we can love other people.
Right.
But you have to love yourself first in order to love those other people.
Right. No.
And don't be, you never know when your time is going to be called. And it's not an excuse. Some people are like, well, that's an excuse. It's like, no, it's been times before where people just croak in the middle of the night.
Right.
People go home and they get in a wreck.
They're not going to see their loved one. I mean, I had a friend recently, she had no seatbelt on. She got thrown out of her vehicle. I mean, she died. I mean, young.
Yeah.
I mean,
you've had a rough past year. Not a lot of people know.
Probably last 3 years.
You've had a lot of people pass away in your life recently.
A lot, many, and the close people.
Yes, not just people people who were daily
people.
Work,
like my neighbor, every day I would say hello to her, and she's always like, she'd get on Facebook with me and said, I love the way y'all did this to the yard, or I love the way you did this to your home. And we just share good things with each other. And she died of a heart attack. I mean, that night, I talked to her that day, and that next day she wasn't there anymore. And then I lost a good friend that worked for me for 20 years, and I lost him to a suicide. And you lose that. That's terrible. So you gotta love everybody. Just forgive.
Love them, and then also with that suicide thing in mind. You never know what somebody's going through.
No.
Like, people probably wouldn't know that you've gone through what you've gone through because you do it so well. You don't try to show it to everybody. Right. Not everybody could do it like that. But just because someone's happy or just because someone's sad, you treat everybody the same with the same amount of love, whether they're this, that, it don't matter what it is. But it ain't going to do no good because you don't know what kind of battle they're going through.
Right.
So maybe you're the only one that they're going to meet today that makes them happy or makes them change their mind state of the wrong path that they may be going down.
Right. I always try to find laughter.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
Yeah.
Laughter gets me. That's my best medicine. And I think everybody needs to try to find that laughter and fun in life and stop being so prideful and mad at everything. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but we're being taught that. So we're being conditioned that. It is.
Stop that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what plans? I know y'all are supposed to be doing this. You're starting up your own podcast.
Yes.
Okay, so if you don't mind
Go into it. Yeah. There's a number of things I want to do. I think we don't educate our young people. In school. They don't teach them about credit or finances and how to help yourself become independent.
Yes.
I'll be doing a lot of that on there. I'll be teaching that, kind of giving instruction and helping people, because I did that with my children, and it paid off, because even though they're still on my checkbooks. Your kids never will get off your checkbook. They're never going to get off your payroll. I don't care what anybody says. They're always going to be on your payroll in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
But at least I want to help them. When they were younger, I helped them build their credit, help them understand what a savings, how to get it, to understand the banking, and help build credit where they can go and do things on their own as they get older. Because there's a lot of people that didn't have that guidance. Nobody ever showed them that. And it's funny when I talk to young people, they're like, oh, wow, how do you do that? How do you get to that? And you show, oh, man, that's cool. I want to do the same thing. So I want to do that, kind of have positivity, motivational pieces. I read a lot of books. I've read a lot of books over the years, many years.
Yeah.
And a lot of principles, but at the end of the day, I tell people the biggest motivational speaker, of course, was Christ himself. All the principles come from the Bible.
Yeah.
So when you hear these speakers like Tony Robbins, you hear all these guys, Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, the author of that. When you hear these people, all their principles, and John Maxwell, all their principles come from
the Bible.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to know. They don't want to address that.
Yeah, but they all come from there.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whether you like to think about it or not, it does.
Read it, and then read the book, and then you go back to the book, and you say, hey, wait a minute.
They've been thinking I'm crazy, because I'll say, I've been saying lately that, and I may be wrong. You might be telling me, you're out your mind. Sometimes I am. That God's a businessman. I've been saying it because he negotiates. Remember, he would talk from the book of Job, the oldest book in the Bible.
Right.
The devil and him are having a conversation about this good servant, Job, and he's saying, the devil and him are talking. Like, hey, I bet he's not that good of a servant. He's like, no, I bet he is. He's like, well, I bet if you took everything away from him. He's like, well, you can't take everything away from him, but you can't do this. He's like, okay, but it's like negotiating terms. It's like, dude, he's a businessman. He's a teacher. If you want to get into heaven, this is what you got to do.
Yeah,
that's a sales thing.
He's your teacher.
You want this car? You got to have this. Like, he's a businessman. If you want to learn a lot, it's in the Bible. So, have you always had Christ in your life? With that being said? From day one. Day one.
Growing up, I had a pretty challenging, difficult childhood, but I learned when I got to be in high school. My first year of high school, I got kicked out of the first. I went to 3 different high schools. I was this kid that I liked hanging out with people, but I loved to fight, and that was just the thing I liked doing. That was my. We had a little deal, and we called it the post office. This is an old post office. We used to box there. We would, put gloves on and box, and then we had finally got people that knew how to box and taught us. Me and my twin brother and people would go there and we'd go box. And I just loved to battle. That was when I was young. What else you gonna do?
Like hip hop battle?
No. I did that too. I did that too.
I know you could get down.
I get down back in the day.
Yes, buddy.
So, we go do those things, and we thought that was the fun thing to go out. Hey, our group, which now I guess, of course we called them little gangs back then. And we just get around people, and I hung out with some people that just weren't living the life that they should. They were into drugs and selling drugs and fighting gangs and robbing people. And I told myself, I'm getting away from here. And one day I became a track runner, and I really was focused on it. And I was running like 70 miles a week. I was a distance runner. In my freshman year, I got kicked out of school. We got in a fight, and it was funny. And back then, when you dog somebody, this guy said, hey, man, why'd you hit my friend? Because his friend, I went to a brand new high school, and I was like, I cannot let them know I have fear. Because I was a freshman, right? So this guy started messing with me, and I popped him real quick. I didn't even give him time. And he went up to the bleachers because we're having orientation, and he told this other guy, and this other guy come walking at me, and I'm sitting down like minding my business. And he said, why'd you hit my friend? And of course, me being the smart ass, I said, go ask your mama that.
Back when your mama
I said, go ask your mama why I told you. Oh, man, it was on.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And then I had some other guys that I grew up with in junior high at that time. And they all like, it got real, everybody's bum rushing everybody. And that's the old term we used to use. And they said, we're going to get everybody after school. And we're going to have a gang fight. And the principal called us in and called my mom and told me and my brother, y'all going to be suspended for 6 weeks. We just got there. It was a bad school anyway. I'm not going to say the name, but it was a bad school. And we just got there. But we're from the hood, so we didn't care. We just got there. And my mom said, nope, you're not suspending them because I'm getting them out of here. And we went to a whole different school. Night and day. I went from the hood to the country. And I had to adapt. But what it did, I'm glad I did. I'm glad because I learned to love everybody. And that made me who I was. I don't care if you're from the hood. I don't care if you're from the country. I don't care if you're from the Beverly Hills. I'm going to love you just the same. And I went to this, I was running that night, and I was just upset about everything, just living a tough life. Me and my brother had to share clothes and, whatever. It was just tough. And we didn't know from one day.
So y'all didn't, because a lot of people see, I don't think it means to say whatever, because a lot of people see Manny today and they think, oh, Manny's always been this way.
No.
But so y'all used to share clothes?
Yeah, we would okay, I'm going to wear that shirt tomorrow. Let's wash it. And then what dryer? You don't have a dryer. You go outside, you hang it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, we had hangers in the back with big poles.
Yeah.
And we hang it, and hopefully it didn't rain because you're screwed. And we would go to school with the shirt half wet if it didn't dry. Whatever it took, we did everything. And we would borrow like a dime or nickel. I think the food was like 60 cents to buy lunch. And sometimes we didn't have no money. So I would go to my friend, like, you got a dime, you got a nickel. But it built character. And I didn't feel sorry for myself. I was like, it is what it is. And I went to that church that night, and I got on my knees. It was like 12 o'clock at night. I was running, working out.
And how old were you at this time?
Probably like 14.
14.
And I was working out. And I got on my knees at the church. It was closed. Nobody's there. It's nighttime. Nobody's open. And I got on my knees and I told God, I'm done. I'm tired of this life. I don't want to be a part of it anymore. I didn't want to. It was not a suicidal thing. I was just telling God I didn't want this life anymore. And I learned I think that night God pulled the trigger to make me brought discipline in me. So I knew when to say, I don't want to hang out with you guys. I knew when to tell people, I'm not hanging out with y'all. Because you're doing this and you're doing that. But before I did that, I didn't do that. I did what everybody else did. And that's a dangerous place to be. You
have nothing guarding you. That's why.
You're in a dangerous place.
If you don't have, and this is just in our belief, if you don't have Christ walking or guiding your life, you are on that opposite end. And that will take you wherever that wants to take you because there's nothing protecting you.
Right.
So you could make the right decisions and not decisions, sure.
Right.
But the likelihood of it being, you're not guarded spiritually.
Right.
So the thing is that behind our flesh or our bodies is there's a spiritual battle going on that we don't see.
Yeah.
And it will
guide you.
It will guide you in that direction, or it will take you away from that direction. So you're 14.
Yeah.
You go by yourself inside the church, and you.
Oh no, I'm outside. I'm outside by the steps. By the steps.
Okay, outside.
And because everything's closed.
Right.
And
okay.
I just tell God, I'm done. Please. I already knew about God because my mom taught me at a young age. But I just was asking him, please come to my heart and help me get. I want to go away from here, even though I couldn't. I had nothing to my name. I'm a young kid. I don't have anything. And it taught me discipline, how to make a better call in my life. So when the gangs wanted to go do their thing, go hurt somebody, I learned to say no. If somebody said, hey man, hit this weed, or hey, take this pill, I learned how to say no. Now don't get me wrong. Being from that, I grew up in that environment and I did that stuff. And I fought and did everything. So then I learned, no, I'm not doing this no more. So a lot of my friends of that time ended up prison and death. It only leads to cemetery or prison, the lifestyle we were living.
Yeah.
And I got transferred to another school, which I thought was the best thing. That I needed to get away from the environment, right? So I got transferred. Didn't know anybody. And by the second year of my sophomore year, I got voted in class, there was like 5 people that got voted, and I was like one of the most popular kids in the school. And I couldn't believe, I was like, wait a minute, it's like God was changing my life. And it's not, I was looking for it. It's what, I think what happened was, it was because I was, had the right attitude every day, no matter where I came from. There was people who didn't like me. There was people who didn't like me for my color. I mean, I was this is like early 80s, and maybe I didn't fit that color, whatever it was, but there was people who didn't like me of my color. You had your name thrown at you, like,
I could imagine.
Yeah, but I learned to love everybody, and we got along, and before I know it, man, everybody there became my best friend, and no matter walk of life, when I was at home in the hood, everybody was my friend. If I was in school, everybody was my friend, and it was all about attitude and God, and I learned that principle. And I learned that principle. Have the right attitude. I learned hold yourself accountable. Don't blame anybody for your life. And it felt like things were just going my way. And it kept going. My senior year, I was like, I don't want to leave. My senior year, everybody's like, man, last day, we're out. Screw this. And the last day, I didn't want to leave the school. Everybody was gone. And I just couldn't believe it was over. Now I got to go to this junior college, and hopefully that's going to be. I was losing my friends and the neighborhood, and man, it just and it changed my life. And I had the right attitude as I went into the workforce. That stayed with me, that character, and it kept going until this day. And I'm the same person that I was when I was a teenager that I am today.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when you were 14, you accept him. You start your life starts changing. You start, ironically, after you accept him, stuff that you used to do, you no longer did.
Well, don't get me wrong. Now I still partied with high school kids, right?
Okay.
We all did.
Yes.
Everybody drank beer, right? So, but I didn't do drugs. I didn't want to do drugs. I didn't want to be that.
You were that You told me you were that 15-year-old that was when at the what was it, crack house? Not crack house, but like you were like ministering to people at
I
like
sure did.
15 years old.
I went to a house, and it was big time drugs going on, and I'll bring the Bible over there. Can you believe that?
The last thing that needs to be there.
I would bring the Bible, and they're like, they were my friends. They loved me, and I loved them.
Hey man, you got something to fire this up? Yep, the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. So it became a habit, and like months later they go, oh, here he comes. They're on the porch. Here comes preacher. For a 14, 15-year-old kid to have that much determination and no fear to do that, that's why I tell people, don't worry about pride. If you have too much pride, you're going to miss your best, because a lot of pride gets in the way of everybody's success. Don't be prideful. Don't worry about what people think. When you stop worrying about the naysayers and what other people think, man, you're holding yourself back to be something. Everybody has greatness in them because God created us, right?
I agree with that. Yeah.
And God wants us the best for us, right? So, but I didn't care. I had no pride. I don't care. You can make fun of me. And today, I still remember those days. I still talk about that. And I tell people, and I was in Puerto Rico one time, and we had a dealer deal that we were there for. When I say dealer, people don't get this mistake. Not dealer, but auto dealer. So I was in the dealer.
What do you do for a living?
I'm in the automotive business.
Automotive business.
Yeah, I've been doing sales and loving it. I've been part of a group for many years, and they have been so great to me, and it's been mutual. Man, I love them. It's family. I don't consider them a company. They're family to me. But things have just been just so good with that whole deal. But I do that. I've been working there and doing that for a while, talking to our young people, getting them to be better in what they do and giving them goals and stuff. But life is good, man. We just got to not have pride in what we do. Don't worry about what people say about you, Don't worry about that. It's only going to hold you back from your ability to show who you really are. Yeah.
You know why that's so hard, I think, for younger kids, especially around my age, is that social media.
Yeah, I think
Like, straight up,
everybody
Twitter?
wants to be accepted.
Mm-hmm.
And you heard the old speech about, social media is like dopamine.
It is.
Because people want the likes.
Mm-hmm.
You like me or not, it don't matter. I'm living me. I'm doing me. I'm living life. I don't you can't. There's too many people let things get in their way to be the best they can be, and you know what? That's a sad deal because there's so many people out there that can be more than what they are.
Yeah, you see the potential in them.
I do. Mm-hmm. I mean, but there's too many. Everybody, don't worry about what people say about you. Don't worry about being accepted. Don't, and I'm glad my daughters are not like that. And I got beautiful daughters. And I'm just glad they're not like the Instagram glamour girls, where they all. I'm not picking on them.
Manny's like that too.
Yeah,
he's
they,
like that
they don't.
too.
They're not into all that. But I think you don't have to do all that to be accepted in who you are. Just do what you can, be happy, and go after your dreams and go after them. And don't worry about what everybody else is saying.
I agree.
And don't worry about trying to keep up. When I was younger, I always thought keeping up with the Joneses was the
thing to do.
Buy the big house, the picket fence, the cat, the dog. I thought that was it. Man, was I wrong. I was wrong. I should have learned that many years ago. But I was young. But I would never be like that ever again. I'm not like that. I'm just doing what makes me happy. I'm
going to use the restroom real quick.
Sir. I'm ready to travel. I'm ready already.
You ready to go back?
Man, you got me all excited. I'm ready to travel.
Am I?
I feel like I need to be on an airplane somewhere.
There you go. There you go. That way you can lean back if you want to. I don't mind.
No, this is good.
Okay.
This is good.
Yeah, dude, I'm ready to get to Miami too.
Yep.
Shoot, last time I haven't taken a trip since I haven't gone with y'all since March.
Yeah, where did we go?
Cali.
Oh, we sure did.
To see.
We stayed at El Cajon.
Yeah.
Oh, we went to.
It was I don't know.
We went somewhere out there, huh?
San Diego. Oh, we went to the game.
Petco.
Petco Park.
Yep.
Yeah, we went to the game. That was pretty good. That's actually a beautiful stadium. And then
I'll be back there. Hey, they had a good run this year.
They did.
We'll be back.
They did. Manny, I know y'all got to go.
Yeah, no problem.
Right? Do y'all?
Yeah. But okay. That's all right.
Cool. Well, we'll do this again. If you're wanting to come back on.
Yeah. I liked it. I just think I just don't want to I want to make sure that I cover what we got to cover.
Yeah, you're good, man. We had no plans, and I love it, dude. This was really good. It's been a while since I've seen you two, man. You're doing healthy. Y'all look like y'all are.
We're having a good time.
Doing great, and I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for your friendship.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you for being as open about some of the things that you've gone through in life.
Yes.
And I hope that some people can take the wisdom that you have because it does work. It's helped me out a lot, and I just appreciate the genuine, authentic you. It's not someone who's fake. Right. You don't really care.
I'm the real, if you go to Mexican food restaurant, I'm the real enchilada. See, there's these other places that you go to,
the real enchilada.
Yeah, they're so fake. I'm the real. I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm the real deal. And I want to make sure that if I can share things with people and give them ideas, and maybe something we can both exchange in those conversations where we both learn, because I'm always learning.
Yeah.
But we both take something from
each other.
That's
for sure.
Yeah,
no, I agree, man. And well, man, we'll wrap it up. Thank you for coming
all day long.
My brother, dude, my big bro. Love you.
Love you too.
I appreciate you. Thank y'all for watching,
good time,
everybody.
Man, I had a great time.
For sure. Thank y'all for watching, and as always, love yourself so that you can go love someone else.
Yes.
All right. Cool.
All right.
Good, brother. Thank
Peace.
you. All right.